Chapter 7 Strangers. "They're here," Skip announced over the ship's network. Rudy and Baxter were in the middle of the cargo hold. Baxter turned and walked to the forward section into the armory. "I'll be hiding in the vault." Footsteps echoed on the staircase coming up from the boarding room. "Hello?" a female voice said. "Greetings." Rudy rolled over to the stairs. "I am, R2-D2. A heavyset woman came into view. Not a very original name. She looked around. 2 more people were coming up the stairs behind her. "Your owner a big fan of old vids, huh?" "Smooth," Skip beamed. Rudy rolled in a circle. "Indeed. Welcome aboard the Osprey." A lanky, middle-aged man looked around. "Just you, droid?" Rudy fumed but simply replied, "Indeed. Our alluvial damper failed. My owner was able to make repairs, but we require a new one." The team lead nodded her head, her beaded hair swaying, clacking as intricately carved beads of many colors collided. "Okay, we'll need access to your engineering space. One of my men, Gregory, will run diagnostics while the rest of us will be on the hull." She produced a band from a pocket and set about capturing her beaded locks into a single mass behind her. Rudy nodded with his fist and rolled towards engineering. "Please follow me." Gregory followed while the team lead and the other man went back down the stairs to climb onto the hull. As they entered the engineering space, Gregory, the lanky, middle-aged man, said, "Tidy." He moved to the main engineering display, currently showing a full system status. Gregory turned to Rudy, who was still standing in the hatchway. "Lots of things need fixin'. Sure your owner doesn't want us to get this bucket ship-shape?" "Bucket?" Skip beamed over the network. Rudy spun his squat, cylindrical head in a full circle. "I am unable to authorize additional work." The tall man shrugged, rubbing a hand over his shiny, hairless pate. "Whatever." He tapped his ear. "Gina, you ready up there?" He nodded along, tapping the control screen, making adjustments. "Yeah, I see it. You're good to go. All connections de-energized." Gregory made a slow circle, taking in the space again. He pointed to Baxter's charging dock. "What's that?" Rudy made a non-committal noise. "Came with the ship." The lanky human turned to Rudy. "Go get me a drink." When Rudy remained where he was, the man frowned. "Please?" Rudy said nothing, rolling away. "When they're done, I could kill him. No one would find him." Baxter sent over the shared network connection. He was once again hiding in the hidden vault in the forward section. "I'm pretty sure the captain would frown on that," Skip replied. Rudy reached the kitchenette and retrieved the bottle of water. "This will be over soon." He rolled back to the staircase as loud thumps echoed through the ship as the humans on the outer hull effected repairs. Meet new people. Jax was enjoying a really pleasant dream. The woman from the bar, Maggie, featured heavily in it. Then he woke up when water splashed his face. His eyes snapped open and crossed as they focused on the business end of a spray bottle. "Hello," a deep baritone said. Jax's eyes uncrossed and focused on the holder of the spray bottle, an older man, salt and pepper hair and a well-groomed, close-trimmed beard. "Hi," Jax said, trying to adjust his position in the chair someone had dropped him into while he was unconscious. He looked around. They were in a warehouse. Where it was, he couldn't tell, but he could hear the rain battering the corrugated metal roof, so still near Titan City at least. He was in a small room, probably an office of some sort. There was a single grimy window behind Spray Bottle Man. Jax wasn't sure, but it looked like grime was holding the glass pane in the frame more than grout. "So, who are you?" the man with the spray bottle asked, his hand lowering, the spray bottle resting in his lap. The room was about 3 meters square, empty except for the 2 currently occupied chairs. No table or anything else. "No one," Jax replied. The other man cocked his head. "No one? That's not good. Nobody misses no ones when they don't come home." Jax nodded. "Fair enough. My name is Michael Keaton. He didn't finish because a stream of water hit him in the face. "We have your G-phone," Spray Bottle Man reminded Jax, withdrawing the device from his jacket with his free hand. Jax thought hard about the ident he had last used. He was sure it wasn't his real one. Fine. My name is Leonard McGarry." "From?" The other man made a go-on motion. "Here, I live down—" More water. Jax rubbed his face. "Cut that out!" "You're not a local," the other man said. Jax inhaled. "Fine. I'm from Jericho Station. I'm here ferrying a VIP to a summit the Emperor is hosting." Spray Bottle Man nodded slowly. "What kind of summit?" Jax opened his mouth to answer, but stopped when a stream of water hit his face. "Hey, what was that for?" He shook his head to get rid of some of the water running down his face. The other man smirked. "Preemptive?" He waited a moment. "Go on." "It's the Emperor's Independent Colony and Station Summit. He brings everyone here to show off and remind them of their place in the galaxy," Jack said. Spray Bottle Man nodded slowly. He was about to say something when the door to the small office opened. A woman came in. Jax was pretty sure she was at the house, whenever it was that he had been at that house. He wasn't sure what time it was. He looked up at the grimy window. Not very bright out, but with the storm, that wasn't saying much. It could have been midnight or high noon. The woman leaned down, whispering in Spray Bottle Man's ear. Jax only caught the odd word, but was pretty sure something was happening soon, something that the Emperor wouldn't like. "You're the rebellion?" Jax asked out loud. Spray Bottle Man, probably the commander he had heard about earlier, looked past the woman to meet Jax's eyes. He nodded to his underling and waved her away, saying, "Tell Odin to prep the 2 ground cars." She nodded and closed the door behind her. "You're the commander," Jax said. The commander nodded. "I'm not sure it's good that you put it together, but yes to both." Jax grunted. "Cool." "Cool?" the commander repeated. "That's not the reaction we usually get." Jax tried to shrug, but the binders keeping his wrists in place behind him made that difficult. I'm glad you all exist and all. I'm no fan of the Empire or anything, but I'm kinda preoccupied with not getting killed right now. Have you heard of the Thunder boomed outside the warehouse, cutting him off. Jax looked up. "The storm, right?" The commander smiled. "I like you." He looked at the ceiling. "Ever thought about getting involved?" "In the rebellion?" Jax asked. "Thought about? No. Interested? Also no. I have my hands full out in the outer colonies. Criminal syndicates trying to kill me and stuff. Keeps one busy." He tilted his head. "Sorry." The man smiled. "Yeah, I like you." He stood. "I'll be back. I've got some things to take care of." He opened the door and turned to Jax. "Need some time to think about your fate." Bustin' out. "Take your time." Jax smiled as the door closed. A lock clacked into place. Outside the door, he could hear people talking to the commander and each other. He only ever picked up a few words here and there. From what he could gather, the rebels were planning something. What it was, he wasn't sure. Someone brought in an Imperial Navy ration pack and sat it on his lap. He looked at the man. "My sex life would be awesome if I were that flexible, but—" He let the innuendo hang there awkwardly. Finally he said, "My wrists?" "Oh," the man said as his cheeks burned crimson. He produced a switchblade and extended the blade with a snicked sound. He leaned over to reach behind Jax and cut the binders. "No funny business," he warned, as Jax moved his arms and rotated his wrists in front of him to get his circulation back. "Promise," Jax said, taking turns rubbing each wrist. The man produced a new set of binders and secured Jax's ankles. "Just in case." Jax pulled open the foil top of the ration pack. "Of course." He nodded at the meal. "Thanks." The man grunted and closed the door behind him. As Jax finished his meal, something landed on the roof with a clang. Jax looked up, but heard nothing further. He looked down at his ration pack and brought it up to his face to lick up the last scraps of not even sort of tasty, meat-like substance. "Are you licking the ration pack?" a voice asked. A familiar one. Jax lowered the ration pack. "Naomi?" he asked out loud. "Where are you?" He looked around. There was a knock on the window before it opened, swinging out and away. The sound of the storm outside increased, and a gust of wind blew in. Naomi's head popped down from the top of the frame. "You're not easy to find." "You're a sight for sore eyes. Get me out of here," Jax said, wiggling his feet. Naomi shimmied in through the window. "What's going on? Who are these guys? Why do they have you tied up?" She knelt down and cut the bindings around Jax's ankles. "The freaking rebellion," he answered. She stood up. "The what? Rebellion against what?" Jax made a face. "Oh." Understanding spread across her face. "Against him, the Emperor. Wow, that's big." "Yeah," Jax said. He moved to the window. "Ready?" She nodded, joining him at the window. He knelt down, cupping his hands. "Excuse me?" a deep voice asked. Jax turned in time to get a stream of water to the face. "Hey!" He dropped Naomi, who grunted as she hit the floor. "What's wrong with you?" she said from the ground, then turned to get her own blast of water, which caused her to splutter. "We have a front door. It's a bit bigger than that." The commander pointed to the window. He walked over to Naomi. "Hi." He offered his hand. Naomi's cheeks burned. "Hello." Jax sighed. "Can't blame us for trying." The other man met his gaze, then turned to Naomi. "I'm curious how you found him, and us." Naomi smiled. "I had Skip, a friend of ours, send me the locator signature for his G-phone. I tweaked the network antennas in mine to ping against his. Sort of like a rangefinder," she added. "Not in exact science, but out here there aren't a lot of likely places." She grinned. "Even less that have active network connections." "How did you—" the commander began. "She's a talented hacker," Jax offered. The commander quirked an eyebrow. Naomi broke the silence. "So, rebellion, huh?" The commander looked at Jax, who shrugged. Naomi continued. "Have you looked at the Academy of Sciences complex?" "Looked at it for what?" the commander asked, then raised a hand. "Why don't we move this conversation out of this room?" He opened the door, extending an arm. Naomi and Jax exited what had been his cell into a bustling command center. Whoa! Making plans. "So explain," the commander said, pointing to a large conference table littered with food containers and data tablets. "I booked Jax and I a tour at the Academy of Sciences for tomorrow." "Jax?" the commander asked. Jax made a face. "Nickname." "For Leonard?" Naomi looked from each man to the other and back, her head tilted to the side a bit. "Middle name is Jackson. Leonard Jackson McGarry." Jax smiled, biting his lip. "I've been on it. Boring," the commander said. "It would be if we were taking the tour," Naomi grinned. "But we're not going to be on the tour. We're going to be robbing them." "So you're thieves," the commander said, seeming unimpressed. "You make it sound so dirty," Jax quipped, crossing his arms. Naomi clucked. "We're not you, it's just the two of us. We're not trying to take down the Empire or anything like that." She took a breath, then added, This isn't about robbing them, per se. It's about getting a little payback." The commander made a face. "Payback? For what?" Naomi looked at Jax, who inclined his head. "Your call." She held up a hand. The biocircuitry glowed. A tracery of circuitry around her left eye lit up as well. The commander leaned forward. "Interesting." He looked Naomi in the eye. "What are you?" He reached out to poke her cheek, where a line of blue was glowing under the skin, only to have his hand swatted away. Naomi explained the interface program, including how she entered it and how the Imperial scientists treated the children in the program, and ended with her escape. "I just want to bloody the Emperor's nose. And maybe make some money," Jax amended. The commander rubbed his chin. "I had heard rumors about something like this toward the end of the war. Nothing solid ever materialized." He looked Naomi up and down. "Huh." Naomi looked at Jax out of the corner of her eye. "We can get into the tower, so if that helps you—" She let the offer hang in the air. The commander looked over his shoulder. "Mara," a young woman came over. "We still have 2 operatives in the Academy of Sciences building, right?" The young rebel thought for a moment. "Yes, sir, Brandon and Monica. They're not very well placed. Neither has clearance above the first 10 floors that I recall." "Thank you," he said. His underling departed. The commander thought for a moment, then looked at his guests. "How about this? I can arrange for a few surprises to be left in the building. With the storm going, I suspect a lot of the researchers are working from home these days. You get in, do what you're going to do, move my surprises up to the secure levels." Jack shrugged. "Sure." He held up a finger. "So long as we can still get off the planet. I wasn't kidding about not getting involved." The commander inclined his head. "Fair." They worked out the details for another hour. It surprised Jax to learn how well organized the rebellion was, and that it was not just on New Terra, as he had originally thought. The Imperial news outlets had done an amazing job at downplaying the rebellion's relevance. The commander, it turned out, was an ex-military, hence the name, but what surprised Jax was that he fought on the side of unification. It was only after the war, the years of the Emperor consolidating his power and placing those he most trusted in positions of authority throughout the government, that the commander realized his error. By then, it was far too late, at least officially. The Indies had long since surrendered and gone into hiding. As they left the warehouse, Jax groaned. I was finally dry. It was still pouring. After walking a few blocks, huddled under Naomi's umbrella, she said, "I think we're far enough. I'll see if a cab will come out here." Jax nodded. She tapped her phone a few times, then slid it into a pocket. 10 minutes later, a cab pulled up a few hundred meters from where they were standing, the nearest piece of non-submerged road. While they walked to the cab, Jack said, "By the way, thanks," he smiled. "Partner." As they slid into the back seat of the cab, the cabbie looked over his shoulder. "Where to?" "The Imperial guest house," Naomi replied. The driver's eyebrows rose as he looked at the 2 wet, bedraggled people in his back seat, asking to be taken to one of the nicest places in the city. Jax looked at his phone. "So gross. They got sticky goo on my phone," he groaned as he wiped the device on his pant leg. "I had plans for, I guess, earlier tonight. She was smoking, too. I can't believe it's already evening." Naomi clucked. "You got in a bar fight?" Jax stopped her by holding up a finger. "Started it, actually." She nodded. "Started a bar fight. Helped save a bunch of folks from the flooding, then somehow stumbled," she leaned closer, lowering her voice, "into the hands of the rebellion. And you're thinking about sex?" He looked at her. "I'm also starving." When they reached the Imperial guest house, the in-house restaurant was already closed, so Naomi convinced Jax to eat a protein bar and get some sleep. He tried to swing by the still open bar, citing the likelihood of the availability of pub mix. Naomi, none too gently, guided him toward the elevator bay. They had a big day ahead of them. They agreed to sync up in the morning. Breakfast of Champions. Jax's adventures the previous day and night had drained him more than either he or Naomi had expected. He slept until around 11 o'clock. When the door to his room finally opened, Naomi looked up from whatever she was doing on her G-phone. She grinned up. "You look rough." "Think they're still serving breakfast?" He ran a hand through his hair. She stood. "Only one way to find out. Our tour is at 1:15. We better get a move on." She slid her G-phone into a pocket on her cargo pants and walked to the door of their suite. She grabbed 2 disposable coffee cups from the coffee table, offering one to Jax. "Here." He took a sip. "Okay, this is good." She nodded. "My new friend gave me a bag when I left his place." "Now you're just rubbing it in," he groused, holding open the door to their suite. The hostess at the in-house restaurant, called the Emperor's Table, gave them a look. "It's pretty late for breakfast." Naomi pointed at Jax. "He's been craving the Emperor's breakfast since we checked in." The young woman smiled, leaning forward a bit. "It is quite good," she admitted conspiratorially. After looking around, she said, "This way." Sliding into the booth, Jax groaned. "So hungry." He yawned. "So tired." He took another sip of his coffee. An older woman appeared. "Take your order?" Jax looked up. "Emperor's breakfast." "2," Naomi added. The woman nodded, tapping on her tablet. She walked off without another word. Naomi turned to Jax. "So, our tour of the Academy of Sciences building is in a few hours." "I know," he replied, taking another sip of coffee. "This is really good." The server returned with 2 large plates. 2 Emperor's breakfasts." She put the plates down. "Anything else?" Jax looked up. "I'm sorry, I meant to ask for toast." She nodded. "Be right back." Once the server was out of earshot, Jax turned back to Naomi. "How are we going to do this? We've got no prep, no intel. It's been, what, a decade since you were here?" She clenched her jaw. "Well, we'd have had all day yesterday if you hadn't played hero." She waved his reply away. "It's been a while, yeah, but I'll never forget the layout of that place." "You gonna be okay?" He took a bite of his breakfast, savoring the flavor. "Damn." "I'll be fine," she snapped. She thought for a moment. "As long as the commander's people do their thing, it'll be fine. I know." "Toast," the server said as she walked up. Jax looked up, smiling. "Thank you so much." As the woman walked away, he looked at Naomi. "It's weird, right? Human concierges, hostesses, cab drivers?" Naomi nodded. "Yeah, the coffee shop I stopped at. Owned by man. Run by people." Under her breath, she added, "A hot man." "What was that?" Jax asked around a mouthful of toast. "Nothing." She waved him off. They ate in silence for a few minutes until Jax said, "So, like, we just go in, download whatever we can, and get out?" He cocked his head. "Sounds too easy." "I never said it would be easy," Naomi corrected. She took another bite of her pancakes. "Outside the public areas, the place is a fortress." Jax made a go-on motion. "Once inside, we can break off from the tour group." She held up a hand, the biocircuitry glowing. "I do my thing to get into the secure areas. We get up to the data center, find what looks like the most valuable data we can, get it, and get out." "When you put it that way," Jax replied. He took a bite of toast, then washed it down with the coffee Naomi had brought. "This really is good. Let's stock up before leaving the planet. Think your boyfriend can do big orders?" He grinned. "He's got big handled." She winked. Jax paused, then laughed loud enough to draw stares from other diners. He ducked his head in apology. He looked at Naomi. "Okay, so what do we need? We can't use the boys. They're trapped on the Osprey. You've got your G-phone. It's loaded with plenty of intrusion apps and such. I've got myself." She grinned. We need to pick up a data storage module. She took a sip of her own coffee. We can grab one on the way. There are dozens of tech shops in the entertainment district. Jax slid his plate to the edge of the table. Okay, so you have a tour booked. You mostly know your way around? He shrugged. Let's go rob the Empire. What's the worst that can happen? Naomi raised an eyebrow.